It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What's up guys, and welcome to FPL Today, the home of a 7 out of 10 FPL manager. On today's video we'll be looking at players' project restart form, looking for those fancy Premier League players that could take their form from the end of last season and carry it on into this one. Are there players that are still priced relatively nicely despite being top of the table stats from game week 30 plus onwards, and also the strongest stats from their side post lockdown? We'll investigate this using stats from Fantasy Football Hob's Opta Stats tables. Links to their website is in the description, and let's go. The first player that's project restart form was impressive was Michael Antonio from West Ham United. He was a midfielder last season and is now reclassified as a striker. However, he scored 8 goals in 9 game weeks from 33 shots on goal, 12 big chances and an XG of 6.84. Now the caveat here is West Ham have an absolute stinker of a schedule to start off the season with, and teams that are fighting relegation can either rise to the occasion or sink without a trace. There's a chance that West Ham rose to the occasion when they were fighting in that relegation battle last season, and Antonio was the one that spearheaded this, and there could be some regression from these amazing stats that are on the screen. Either way, he is a very nice price at 6.5 million after his project restart form. So I'm denied about whether I should recommend Raheem Sterling, because it does seem like a fairly obvious pick, but with so many options in midfield and the likes of KDB in the same side, it's almost like Raheem Sterling is being ignored. I was shocked when I checked his ownership, and his ownership was only at 5%, and I know they have a blank in game week 1, but if you look at KDB's ownership, that's still above 30%, and this guy was a difference maker for a lot of managers at the tail end of last season, and had I been one of the managers to own him, my rank from last year would have been significantly better. 9 goals and 4 assists is a massive return for 9 games, and his minutes were managed because of the fast pace of fixtures coming around. His stats came from 10 big chances and 1 big chance created, showing he got assists from situations that in other teams he may not have got the assist for. So at 0.5 million cheaper than KDB, he could be an option, or maybe even at times this season worthy of a double up if Man City have the right fixtures. Before we move on, if you enjoy the content in this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Also hit the notification bell to join the notification squad, and in the comments down below let me know whose form you cannot ignore from the end of last season. Carrying on the trend of some of the big hitters, our next player is priced at 10.5 million. Now you know I always want to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to acknowledge a bias here that I have against Harry Kane being in my side. It's not that I hate Tottenham, and I was a manager that made the most of Harry Kane when he burst onto the scene what seems like many seasons ago, but recently he always feels like he's too deep when the ball gets into the box, and I'm never confident with him as a pick in my side. That being said, after Project Restart got underway, he managed 7 goals from 25 shots and an XG of 4.96. Also, this is Mourinho's second season, and he usually is successful in year 2 at a club. For the record, I also have a bias against Jose Mourinho now. I just don't think he's the type of manager that I want to invest in the FPL assets from, but even with those biases, I can recognise the stats for Harry Kane were good at the end of last season. Captain America had an up and down season last year, but boy did he end it strong. Now there might be some worry over an injury and also the amount of players that Chelsea are now bringing in, but I think his performances warrant inclusion in any starting 11 that starts this season for Chelsea. 57 points from 650 minutes, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 goal involvements. He looks like a player growing from strength to strength under Frank Lampard, and with even better players around him, these numbers could in theory increase, although they could also regress if the goals and assists start to get shared around or seem to go mainly through another player. Either way, his end of season form was fire. So imagine my surprise when I was looking through the Opta Stats table, courtesy of Fantasy Football Hub membership, link in the description, and I see that Andrew Robertson actually outperformed Trent Alexander-Arnold from game week 30 plus. And at 0.5 million less, could he continue this trend this season? Because that 0.5 could come in handy elsewhere. 44 points from 1 goal and 5 assists is a good return, and he didn't have loads of clean sheets to bolster that score. There's also an argument that if Robertson does continue his preseason form, which we all know is very possible because we've seen good numbers from him before, maybe a Liverpool defence double up to cover Liverpool's big hitters in Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane could be viable. Either way, it'll be exciting to see if Robertson returns in as good a form as he ended last season on. And the last player is Willian, who has now moved to Arsenal, but whose stats come from the end of his tenure at Chelsea. Now at 8 million, the price is not very friendly, but he managed to get 55 points from 674 minutes last season, at the end of last season. That's only 2 less than Pulisic. This came from 4 goals and 3 assists, which are both extremely close to his XG and XA. Now at Arsenal, maybe he'll take up a more important role in the Arsenal side and could benefit from a change of scenery, as he has played second fiddle to the likes of Eden Hazard for most of his career. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on Willian and hope he has something to prove with this move to Arsenal. And before we end this video, we do of course get to the EOV question of the day. Oisin Larkin is the guy with the question, and I'm fully aware that first name might be pronounced very differently. I'm pretty sure he's told me how to pronounce it before, but I have forgotten. Thank you for the question though, mate. Should we be considering Everton assets because they have good fixtures after Spurs with a dodgy Liverpool game in between? He mentions the likes of Richarlison, DCL and Digne, and my response to this would be the fixtures definitely look great, and I did recommend Digne in my fixtures video. DCL is a player that I owned for parts of last season successfully, but also owned for a large part of last season with very little success from him. And Richarlison, if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll understand is a player that I don't necessarily get on with myself, because when I picked him, he's never really performed. There's something about that Everton side that makes me feel like they should do well, but I just don't see it happening. And I don't understand fully why. My gut doesn't back that Everton side right now, and that could definitely change. It could change very quickly. But the only player there I'd really give a shout out to, and maybe would get into my side if I jigged around my team a little bit, would probably be Digne, because I feel like he's a defender that could pick up some clean sheets. Ancelotti is a manager that can get his sides defensively solid and also has the potential for some attacking returns. Richarlison is definitely a good player and has proven himself in the Premier League, but at 8 million and as a forward, there just seems like there's better options out there, and I just feel like if I put my trust in DCL, I may be disappointed. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you think of the best form players after Project Restart and which you want in your FPL sides. Also, thank you for watching this video, and if you've watched to the end, leave a question with the hashtag EOV and potentially get your question answered at the end of a future video. I've seen a lot of you ask questions but not put the hashtag in. We're trying to get this as a thing on the channel, so make sure to put hashtag EOV. If this video has helped you, please again consider hitting that like button and subscribing. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game. 7 out of 10, you know. I'm not sure I'm going to let that slide.